Good morning, Thailand. My name is Alex, and I have some news updates from around the land of smiles for you today, this Friday, November 22nd. Now, today we will be talking about tourists from all around the world misbehaving in the land of smiles. We're really going on a tour, people. A dozen corpses found in questionable circumstances at a cult compound. And a little later, a new beer from Singapore brewed with sewage water? Still tastes better than Chang. Anyways, our first story of the day is about an Egyptian tourist who was arrested for sexual assault in a Bangkok condo lift. Now, on November 20th, Makassar police arrested a 36-year-old Egyptian man identified as Mr. Sameh for sexually assaulting a 25-year-old woman in a luxury condominium near Rama 9. The incident occurred on November 16th when the victim, Miss B, was followed into the building by the suspect who groped her before fleeing. What a coward. Through CCTV footage, police identified and apprehended Mr. Sameh at his residence. He confessed to the crime during questioning and remains in custody while legal proceedings continue. Yeah, that is scary, man. That footage is pretty terrifying stuff. Just to see, big scary man. You've never seen him before. He's following you. Okay, that's making me nervous. And now he's in the elevator with you, a closed space where you cannot escape. And all of a sudden his hands are on you. So who knows how much further that could have escalated for this poor woman. And it just kind of highlights the fact that we live in a world that, what is the old saying? Men are afraid that women will laugh at them. Women are afraid that men will kill them. So here is an absolutely horrifying situation. Hopefully justice is brought to this man. An example can be made so that this won't happen again. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments, everybody. Okay, on to our next story. Let's spin the wheel of nationalities. Which country do you believe will be behaving badly next? Spoiler alert, it's India. All right, now an Indian man has been arrested for firing a blank gun in Pattaya. On November 20th, chaos erupted in Pattaya's Soi Kopai neighborhood when a 36-year-old Indian man named Sunil fired a blank gun into the air while, you guessed it, intoxicated, causing a panic. Responding to the late-night incident, police seized the unmodified firearm and 22 rounds of ammunition. Sunil claimed he fired the gun on a dare, unaware of the legal consequences. He was arrested and taken to Pattaya police station for further questioning. This is dumb. I'm reminded of what are those Arab weddings and things like that where people are firing them off because it's just part of the celebration. This was done on a dare, but yeah, people aren't just firing off on the streets like Yosemite Sam here in Thailand. So there will be consequences for that. Fortunately, it was a blank, so that is nice that there was no bullet going up in the air and then coming down, but also fortunately there are consequences for this action, and yeah, just so you know, just because it's blank bullets doesn't mean you can just go around firing them off. So yeah, do be careful and stop packing heat, everybody. It's pretty serious. All right, moving on. Spin the wheel one more time. Russia. Okay. A Thai couple is seeking justice after a motorcycle collision with a Russian driver in Phuket. A Thai couple is pursuing legal action after a Russian man allegedly crashed his SUV into their motorcycle in Talang, Phuket on November 17th. The accident left the woman with visible injuries and both victims unable to work due to their condition. The Russian driver, accused of speeding out of an alley, denied responsibility and refused to pay compensation, daring the couple to take the matter to court. A police-arranged meeting failed to resolve the dispute, prompting the couple to share their story on social media to seek advice and expose the incident. Gotta love that the Russian man came out of his car shirtless over there. Anyways, yeah, it does seem like this is a pretty clear-cut case. You would be able to see, all right, if the scooter was sideswiped by the SUV, then very clear burden of responsibility on one party. This is just so weird to me that the police are trying to resolve this issue in an amicable way and failing to resolve it because the man is refusing to pay compensation, saying that it was their fault or something like that. I'm not sure. Maybe, there are scammers out there that do this kind of a thing. But, yes, it's weird to me to see Thai police maybe sort of like not putting their fingers on the scale for the Thai citizens. So that would be very disheartening, and that's the reason why, if I would imagine that if these Thai people were actually in the wrong, they wouldn't be going to social media with their story. So seems like a move of desperation on their part to try and achieve some sort of justice. So putting a spotlight on it, police, come on, do your jobs and figure this out so that justice can be done and these people can move on with their lives. All right, we're done with our tour around the world for bad behaving people. Now we have a strange story that's locally homegrown here in Thailand, a couple of them actually. First one up is that there was in Narathiwat, there was a bomb scare that forced emergency closures of schools. So 4 homemade bombs hidden in rubbish bags exploded early on November 21st along Road 4136 in Narathiwat's Kokyan sub-district, prompting the closure of Ban Hotue Tuo School and a large-scale police investigation. The devices, planted 500 meters apart, caused minor ground damage but no injuries or property harm. Witnesses reported 4 men on motorcycles placing the bombs before fleeing. Authorities linked the explosives to digital wristwatch timers and secured the area. Investigations are ongoing, with police intensifying efforts to identify and apprehend the suspects. Well, that's scary. Jesus Christ. Like, it does appear that nobody was injured, so that's good news. But a coordinated effort by some sort of organization to put roadside bombings out, that is, scary. So these people are still out there on the lam and able to do more harm. Hopefully the police will be able to have the resources at their disposal to try and figure out exactly who did this and bring them in to stop them from causing any more chaos, because I don't know. It does appear that these regions, there are still some conflict regions in Thailand where these kinds of things are happening, and organizations that resort to terror tactics are still at large. So be careful out there, people, and if you see something, say something. That is pretty scary stuff. All right. Anyways, moving on. We're going to move on to our next story, which is also pretty shocking and pretty scary stuff. We're talking about a cult, people. I know, they can be enticing, right? You can have a lot of fun joining a cult, get your love bombs, your, group sessions, let's call it. But in this case, we have some questionable practices. 12 corpses were found in Kamphaeng, Phet in a cult raid. So police raided a cult site on Kamphaeng, Phet on November 20th, uncovering 12 corpses allegedly used in rituals by the Sirichan Forest Monastery. Led by monk Saifon, the cult reportedly performed practices claiming to develop supernatural abilities like clairvoyance and fearlessness. Some corpses were buried while others were in coffins, with cult members presenting documents claiming legal consent from families. Police are verifying these claims, with DNA testing underway to confirm identities. If irregularities are found, legal action will follow. That's a bit weird, that story, man. Okay. If you have legal consent from the family, all right, that's one thing. I guess your ethics are checked out, but there are still processes from the, government of Thailand about how to deal with burial and to announce deaths, right? We have to issue death certificates and that kind of thing. So no matter what, it does appear that there was some weird wrongdoing going on. Also questionable whether these legal documents are actually legitimate. As you know, people who join cults end up being, the cults tend to force their members to alienate themselves from their family members. So it's very questionable as to whether or not they did receive the consent from their direct family. Just ew. Pretty gross all around. Don't join cults. Don't start them. It seems like the practice is alive and well, especially down here in Southeast Asia, where you get lots of spiritual gurus, quote unquote, selling classes or whatever, and then bringing people in for yoga retreats. Then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you've transferred all of your money to their bank account, and your family has ostracized you, or you've ostracized them, one of the two. Happens like that. So do be careful when making new friends out there. You never know who's going to be taking advantage of you. All right, on to our last story for Thailand. Lighten things up a little bit. We have a huge boom in tourism happening here in Thailand. We're reaching pre-pandemic levels, and Bangkok Airways is adding French jets in order to meet the tourist demand. So, Facing a record surge, in tourism, Bangkok Airways has leased 2 Airbus aircraft from French airline Amelia to bolster its operations during peak season. Starting December 1st, the A319-100 and A320-200 will serve routes from Bangkok to Luang Prabang, Siem Reap, and Phnom Penh, with flights running daily or multiple times a day. The additional planes, accommodating 144 and 178 passengers, will remain in service until March 2025. This move addresses the airline's capacity shortfall as it works to restore pre-pandemic levels, with plans for a fleet upgrade by 2028. Yeah, it's pretty funny how this process works. Airlines can just lease each other their planes as traffic increases. Obviously, this is high season for Thailand, so gonna need it a little bit more in our neck of the woods. How much this will do to alleviate, right? It depends on how often these flights are going to be running daily, how busy the planes will be. But yeah, it does appear that since the vid locked everything down and slowed down tourism, it appears that we're back, baby. So a fleet upgrade by 2028 might be a little too far away. There's plenty of high seasons in between now and then. But as long as other airlines are willing to lend out their airplanes to help pick up the slack, should be good to go. Hopefully that also lowers the prices for you guys to be able to come back out and visit. That'll do it for our Thaiger section of the news in Thailand. Now we're off to the greater ASEAN region. So first stop, we are going to Malaysia. Now this is a crazy story. We're bringing back corporal punishment. A Malaysian man is facing public caning for an Islamic offense. A 42-year-old Malaysian man has been sentenced to 6 strokes of the cane and a fine for his third conviction of khalwat, the Islamic offense of close proximity between unmarried individuals. The public caning is scheduled for December 6 at a mosque in Terengganu, marking the state's first such public punishment for this offense. Terengganu, governed by the conservative Parti Islam se Malaysia, or PAS, has recently amended its Islamic laws to allow public caning, reflecting a stricter interpretation of Sharia law. Malaysia operates a dual legal system with Islamic laws applicable to Muslims alongside secular laws. So this is weird. Yeah, it's very funny. If you are Muslim, then these laws apply to you. If you are not, they don't. So, I mean, I feel like that's probably how it should go. But good God. Certainly a turn towards Sharia away from secularism, as Malaysia obviously has a very large Muslim population led by Muslim leaders at this point, I believe. And yeah, that's, for me, scary. Singapore obviously always had the caning. Malaysia, taking a look at the success of Singapore, maybe we need to do it as well. But again, the punishment is a bit weird. Close proximity? How close are we talking? Like, I don't know. And was there consent? This doesn't really check out with my code of ethics, but when in Rome, you got to follow the Roman laws, or in Malaysia, in this case. I messed up that idiom, but you get my point. So be careful. Apparently, if you are not Muslim, get into close proximity all you want. But if you are, be careful. Weird dual standards over there. Anyways, on to our next story. We're off to Cambodia. So a little bit of finance news, international infrastructure talk. I'll try to stay with me because I have some fun stories after this. Cambodia's Canal project faces uncertainty amid a lack of Chinese funding. Where's the money? Cambodia's $1.7 billion Funan Techo Canal project, intended to link the Mekong River to the Gulf of Thailand, faces delays as promised Chinese funding remains unconfirmed. Initially touted as 49% funded by China's CRBC, Beijing has expressed hesitations, leaving the project's future uncertain. Amid declining Chinese investment in Cambodia, officials have struggled to attract new funding, and the groundbreaking site remains abandoned months after the ceremony. It's kind of tough, and this is one of the problems when you're dealing with China, okay? I've said this plenty of times. They use their money as their main weapon of influence. So, hands were shake, deals were struck. I'm assuming contracts were signed. And, yeah, China is sort of reneging on those deals that they made, putting, this is supposed to be a major boost to not just the Cambodian economy, but all of Southeast Asia. So, expressing hesitations. Hesitations over what? They have not really been clear about why they are now all of a sudden doing a U-turn on their promises of funding. But also, the trouble here is who else will step in, right? Will European powers step in? Will America step in to replace some of these funding shortfalls and maybe buy a little influence as well? I don't know. It does seem like a really easy, open opportunity to buy a lot of goodwill, not just for Cambodia, but the rest of Southeast Asia, from more developed countries. But who knows what backroom dealings are going on? We'll see. But the future of the project does seem in question. All right, now, fun story. Gross story. Want to know your thoughts, all you beer drinkers out there, because Singapore's Sewage beer showcases innovation at COP29. Yum. Singapore's New Brew, a beer made from treated wastewater called New Water, has gained attention at COP29 for its unique environmental message. Developed to highlight Singapore's advanced water recycling efforts, the beer aims to normalize the use of treated wastewater as part of the state's strategy to address water scarcity. Produced since 2018 by Brewworks, New Brew is made using standard beer-making processes and is priced similarly to other premium beers. It has been very well received by attendees, helping shift perceptions of recycled water. One attendee said, "While it is made from sewage, it still tastes better than Chang." Just kidding. Love you, Chang. No, okay. Would you drink it? Would you drink it? I don't know. It's pretty weird. Like, it's pretty cool that they're doing this and it's done safely. I would, of course, have to try it. I'm sure I've drank worse things. But, yeah, certainly the idea of it doesn't feel too good. So, I don't know. It's pretty cool. Look, Singapore struggles with water scarcity. It's something that they do. They have tons of processes set up in order to recycle their water. And, yeah, it's drinkable. You can drink the water in Singapore, unlike many of the places here in Southeast Asia. So, cool. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Would you drink this whole New Brew, or would you prefer to stick to traditional beers? Let me know. Now, our last story today is just a nice little feel-good story coming out of Indonesia, where that country is now targeting a net zero emissions by 2050. President Prabowo Subianto announced Indonesia's ambitious plan to achieve net zero emissions before 2050, a decade earlier than previously targeted. Speaking at a G20 forum, he detailed plans to retire all coal and fossil fuel power plants within 15 years and build 75 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity. With abundant sunlight and other renewable resources, Indonesia is confident in transitioning away from its coal-dependent energy mix. Despite being a top greenhouse gas emitter and coal exporter, the nation aims to leverage its vast rainforests and renewable potential to become a leader in sustainable energy. Kudos, Indonesia. You know, it's so funny. We see, like in the West, there's always like these plans of achieving net zero or going green by a certain date, and it always feels like the goalposts are moved in the other direction, right? Like the dates get pushed back. Here, Indonesia is actually pushing it up, right? We're getting 10 years earlier to this neutrality, which, you know, again, we'll have to believe it when we see it. Obviously, pollution is still a major issue for that nation, and yeah, still for many developing countries around the world. So finding a way to maintain your energy needs to meet the energy demand of obviously such a very large population in Indonesia, that's a big challenge. But I'm glad to see that the leadership over there seems to be taking it seriously, and hopefully they can follow through on these lofty promises. All right, now, anyways, I'll get into the comments in just a second, everybody, but let me wrap up the show very quickly. Thank you all very much for joining us here on the Thaiger Good Morning Thailand news cast. I don't know, what do I call this? Anyways, the show. But you guys can always go to thetiger.com any time of day for more news updates throughout the day. We're constantly posting updates about what's happening around the land of smiles. Also, you can go to ASEANnow.com where you can join the conversation. It is the largest expat forum here in Thailand and swiftly growing to the wider region as well. Now, let me get into the comments. We'll be back on Monday, but yeah, let's see what you guys have to say.